Hey there and welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is JerryKanchefu and in today's video we're going to be talking about my story from where I've been to where I am now and what's going to happen afterwards. Where is this going to go? So let us begin.
Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And you would naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes. You would have every kind of pleasure, you see. Then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now.
Born in the 19th of February 2002. My mother would always say I was plastered in eczema, head to toe, nights screaming in pain. But as you can tell, it's all cleared up now. I was born here in the United Kingdom, and through my childhood, one distinctive memory was I was known for my smile, I was known for my joyfulness and my happiness. Unknowingly, people pointing out these distinctive features within myself, I then began to become known as this nice guy. The guy who help you out with this, the guy who help you out with that. From high school in the United Kingdom, that is age 11 or 12, you start high school, and then you finish ages 16, 17. So throughout those whole years, I was known as the nice guy. Growing up, you understand and you hear and you learn that nice people don't always win, they don't always make their way. However, my niceness, my understanding of one, if they were rude to me, if they were nice to me, was to understand the human mind. I've explained before previously how in the video of who is JerryKanchefu, the next chapter, the past friends I had in the years of high school, talking about high school years, me being known as the nice guy would put me in a position where I was popular, I was known, being one of the few black people in my high school. However, also being one of the only few black people in my high school, as in my year group. Things were said and done for those 5 years. However, then I did stay at that high school to go into sixth form 4, so for 7 years. Early on in year 7, ages 11, 12, 13, I took a mental note of this, how at this premises I'm going to be going for the next 7 years, I'm going to experience a lot more of the outside world, much more than I would have, of course, when I'm younger. With that mindset, I prepared my mind to endure hate, to endure criticism, to endure racism, to endure anything that would hinder my mind if I just had let it happen. So I said this to myself: you're going to go through a battle here for the next seven years, Jerry. Unknowingly, this was the beginning of me understanding the human mind and human behavior. So these things would happen where you get called names, you get picked on, you get praised in certain areas and shamed on in other areas. Yet I'm not sure how I knew it. I think my mother had a part to play as. So when growing up, before high school, I was called a comforter, then I turned into the nice guy. So my mother, being a mental health nurse, she would always say things such as, tell a person's wellness, their well-being, if they're mentally okay, through usually what they wear, how their face is, structurally how their hair looks. There's many different things you can tell about a person just by their being. And she would say all of this stuff, and she would constantly, even things like nails, you can tell if someone's healthy through their nails, through their tongue, through their eyes. And I would just listen. I'm like, oh, that's interesting, mother. Not knowing what I was taking in. So she tells me all this stuff for years and years and years because she's a mental health nurse. And I'm taking in notes that she's learnt in university that they're just feeding into my mind. So with that mindset, I carry that into high school. And now I'm noticing these things. The type of people saying these things, saying these words or doing these actions, themselves, their stories, their experiences, they translate. For someone to be doing a certain action is because of it comes from this root. there's a belief, there's a underlying factor of doing stuff. There's a reason let me put it more plainly, there's a reason we want to eat food because we're hungry. There's a reason we want a certain piece of clothing because we believe it'll make us look nice. So of course you can translate that into other things. So now, being this nice guy in high school, it turns into this guy who is courteous and can care and help for needs. And with this, in this period of 7 years, as I was saying, including sixth form, there was times when people would come to me to talk, and these people would self-harm, these people would have suicidal thoughts. And what I did back then, I would speak to them. I remember my mum would tell me about mental health stuff, so this was nothing new to me. However, experiencing it, talking to them and seeing it on the arms, that was new to me. And it got me in a state of, wow, a human being can do this. A human being, these are the thoughts I had back then. How old was I? I was 13, 14, 15. A human being can cut themselves to alleviate pain that they're feeling within their brain. To think that by cutting themselves will make them feel better or sort out the situation in their mind. So I would conversate with them. Why are you doing this? I forgot the exact conversations we would have. They're probably on my phone somewhere. But I would conversate with them and understand them and try and get to the root of their feelings, of their hurts, of their true, what their heart is feeling, what their mind is thinking, and successfully stop them. And I thought about this, you know, how bad must it get for one to self-harm? It would really boggle my mind. It would get me thinking. So going on through high school, helping those people self-harm to stop self-harming, it then also went into, I began to understand that I'm not, through, as I said in year 7, having this mindset, I'm going to endure a lot more than I endured before in my previous life, but previously in life. In my journey of high school, I began to realize I'm not alike the main person who would go to high school, get good grades, and flourish in a sense of education. I knew if I really wanted to achieve good grades, get A's and stuff, I could do it. But the type of student I was, I liked what I liked. I was still trying everything and going my hardest. But I know I liked biology. Was one subject I was fascinated by, because induced by my mother's words of mental health, induced by me just being fascinated about the human mind. I've always had a connection with it. And biology, physical education, I loved how you can push your body physically, yet your mind would be saying stop, you know, relax, take a break, you're really working out here. But your physical body can keep going. It's just your mind telling you to stop. So I love that. And then in sixth form I studied psychology as well, and business. Always loved to be an entrepreneur. So I understood that through education I may not get the A's, I may not, you know, be an A-star student. I know by going through this, it will deepen my knowledge into something I want to do further on. I understood that. And the grades I would get, the student I would get, so out of 8 GCSEs, I got 6. I passed 6 and failed 2. I failed business and I failed Spanish. The rest I got D's and C's. The main one is C's. I would say I'm a C in the education realm. I'm a C student. So with all that said, I knew I'll be a C student, B student, D student. That's what I would get. And I knew that, this is actually later on, I began to understand certain types of people in high school would get certain types of grades. Like the people I would hang out with were the popular kids, the cool kids of the group. You know, everybody knew them, the teachers knew them. Yeah, everybody would know us, right? However, there was a section of this group we had who were very smart. They would get their B's and their A's. And there was a section of the popular guys who struggled a bit more in education. So I'm looking at this group continually throughout my high school years, thinking, okay, this is very interesting. Now, what do these people do in order to achieve their A's, B's? And what do these people do in order to, do they just struggle? What is it? So I look at my group, and then I'm looking at other groups in my year. The type of people hang out with one another really represent themselves, and I'm noticing this at a very young age. And I'm seeing what else happens in their life for them to be in the position they are. So I'm questioning this, and I'm thinking, I'm noticing that smart people usually hang out with smarter people, and the less able people, you hang out with the less able people. So I'm taking all this information, I'm looking at all these people, I'm analysing myself, I'm analysing my being, helping some people, helping people with just their thoughts in general. And it makes me curious onto what is possible for myself. So we're still in high school, nearing the end I would say, because I then begin to make friends with people in these other groups in high school, not just the popular people I should say. And I understand a different lifestyle. Like one of the people, he introduced me to charity shopping. He actively charity shopped, and that brought me to a new world, and that began one of my entrepreneurial journeys when I was 15, 16, where I would buy charity shop clothes, cheap clothes, and sell them for a higher price and make my money off that. And that's where my entrepreneurship truly began. At the same time of knowing more people, persevering through the tribulations, through this school life, I began to find myself more in what is Jerry going to do after this, after high school, after sixth form. And deep down inside, I know I always had a passion for the mind and business and creativity. Those are top 3 things about me that have always just been innate. So with that in mind, now going into GCSEs, which is ages 15 to 16, I believe. You pick subjects you want to study. You do your course subjects, because it's a Catholic school I went to, religious education, science, maths, English. Those are your core. You have to do those. And then you can pick 3 on top, and I picked business, graphic design, and Spanish. And I told you I got what the grades I got. Then we move on to after GCSEs, after high school finishes. I got my grades, I finished, and I think, what's next for me? Where am I going to go? And I want to go to sixth form, same place, because high school I went to is very good. The teachers are excellent, support system is excellent, facilities are quite good as well. So I decided, okay, let me just root myself and stay here 2 more extra years, enduring whatever I had to endure, knowing that after this, that's when I can go beyond where I'm at in life, where I'm at proximity-wise as well. So I go into A-levels and I study psychology, business, and graphic design. Then, this is 2018 to 2020. So this is before the pandemic now, isn't it? During this sixth form time, my curiosity of the mind develops. My idea of wanting to know more about self and ways to improve myself develop, because as I said at the beginning of high school, I set my mind unknowingly of what mindset is, unknowingly of what self-preparation, self-talk is, not knowing any of this stuff. I do it. Now finishing high school, I've got this understanding of different behaviors, different personalities, and different ways of being, whether that's around certain people, whether that's alone. All these experiences, all these events in my mind, I wish I had written down at the time. Now, what more is there? I asked myself. And somehow, this is the time I listened to my first audiobook, and this is the first book I know I'd finished back to front with not stopping halfway or what. I decided, okay, let me get Audible. Let me download a book. On Audible, you get your first 30 days, you get a free book. So I thought, okay, what book is going to be good for me in this time of my life? Going into sixth form, going to study my A-levels. I just type in motivate. So the first book I got is Zig Ziglar's How to Stay Motivated. So I would read a chapter every day. Well, I'd listen to a chapter every day, I should say. And this would then be the first stepping stone of actively, can I even say actively though? This would be the first stepping stone of developing myself intentionally, knowingly. So I listened to that book. That's the first book I listened to. And with that, I then began to learn more about ways of the being, ways of how we interact, how we think, why we do things, through YouTube and through just talking to people and just analysing them. So this is the beginning, the beginning of A-levels. I do that. And through A-levels, now, the popular kids from high school, some of them go to college, some of them go apprentices, they're all dispersed. And some of them stay. Some they stay there because it is a good school. So I'm still with it. But one thing in sixth form, what I distinctly remember is the beginning of sixth form. I said this to myself once more at the beginning. This is the time I can now distance myself and be alone in the sense of, not because I don't want to be with people, not because antisocial, no. In the sense of now you can pick who you want to be friends with. Because in sixth form, you get people coming in from other schools, you get people leaving your school, so on and so forth. So the main group I was with, of course, in the first few months, you're hanging out, you're going to, because at lunchtime you can go out to the city centre, get some food in the city centre, go to a pub, so on and so forth. I'm seeing this. Oh, that group I was with, they got friends out of, out of the school I was in. Like myself, I was friends with not only people in my school, but people in other schools around where I lived. So this group of friends, they got friends and they're going out to the city centre, so on and so forth. I know I'll go with them sometimes and sometimes I wouldn't. But as time went on, I would do it less and less and less and less, because this is where the self-development of myself, I understood and I learned that there's a saying that you are like your five closest friends, your 5 people you hang around most. You will most likely do similar things in the sense of the way you speak, talk, act, or don't talk, whatever it may be. So I understand this. I actively now distance myself. Of course, if I see them, oh, how are you, mate? You good? Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you? All of this, all of that. But I'm now distancing myself because I'm learning that for where I want to go, for where I want to be, I've grown up with you guys for 7 years. I've seen what you do, what you don't do, what you say, what you don't say, and I'm not in for that. I say this to myself. I know this is what I'm doing for myself. Over time, distance between us gradually goes bigger and bigger. So we're going through sixth form, and then the pandemic is, isn't it? And the thing is, with the pandemic now, when Boris Johnson said we're going to full lockdown, you can't go shopping, you can't do this, you can't go out, transport, none of that. First thing that hit me at the beginning, once again, was this is the time you get for yourself to understand you, to understand your behaviors, what you want, what you don't want in life, where you want to be, where you want to go, what you don't want, where you don't want to go, all of it. And then Jordan Peterson does this thing. He got his students once to write down everything they want in life, everything they want to see, touch, smell, look at, whatever it may be, all their goals, desires. And then he got them to write the opposite of that, everything they despise, they hate, they never want to look at, never want to experience this, that. And then that comparison would shake you enough not to ever do anything to oppose what you want. So I do that. I do that during lockdown. Like in year 11, I started selling my clothes. During lockdown, I had a social media marketing agency, so I said to myself, I need to learn about social media marketing. It's the perfect time. Everyone's on their phones. I had a course, I learned from it, and then 2020 to 2021, I began university. And with beginning university, I realized balancing an online clothing shop at university. I was living away in London. That's when I moved to London. Having physical items is too much work, so I had to close the online vintage clothes shop called Streetwear. Social media marketing agencies, I still believe I can get somewhere going, but then I had to close it as well. In June 2021, I remember that I closed them both. But then when I start university as well, at the beginning, once more, I said to myself, this is a time I'm no longer in my hometown. I'm now in London. People here don't know me. I don't know them. I would have liked to think the people I'm going to meet in university are not as immature or childish or didn't have the thinking ways I've experienced in the past. And I carried that within me. Not knowing that would be doing our lessons online, so I didn't get to experience really any person or interact with anybody truly. And then now we're talking about in the present moment. Starting year 2 in university, we go into class and form deeper friendships with the people in class. But I understand and I know myself more now than I did back then, and that's the continuous case when you're learning yourself, when you're learning about self-development, personal development. You begin to understand your way of being, your way of thinking much more, and it just develops and develops and develops. And that really brings me on to today, isn't it? How my story is, I've been through things which I won't state in this video yet. There'll be a time and a place when I explicitly state exactly what has happened to me. But not in this video yet. I've been through things that have shaped the way I think, the way I am. But I've never said to myself, why is this happening to me? And I believe that's because something within me understands, before personal development, something within me understood things happen for a reason. Will you understand that reason? Maybe yes. Or maybe no. Despite that, things are going to happen. Life is going to continue. The clock is going to keep on ticking. And I've always had that within me. Maybe it's because I've grown up in the church. Maybe it's because I've grown up in a family, always constantly pray and believe that God will make a way for them. Maybe that plays a part. But ultimately, if I push that all to the side, I sit there with my brain and myself, and I have my own thoughts, and I think, what do I think of this? What do I think of my life, and what am I thinking? That's what it comes down to. And I've constantly, as I've grown up, as I've learned more, as I've seen more, I've constantly had to ask myself, where are you now, Jerry? My story is really one of, I've always just believed there's something better or bigger, no matter the experience, no matter the circumstance. And that belief is what allows the mind to continue. What has allowed me to make this video. If I tell you guys, I was sat here for an hour contemplating what I'm going to say, contemplating if I can say this stuff, because I believe through telling my story, somebody else who can relate, somebody else can know they're not alone, or know that their story matters. Their story matters. It's simple as that. No matter what it may, no matter what they may think or have gone through, this one person can attach and relate to that. And that's what I intend on doing. I intend on just expressing what's happened to me, expressing what I've seen, felt, and how I've gone through it to help you. I didn't write any notes on my, my phone or my MacBook as I usually would when I'm making my videos, because I wanted it to truly just be me speaking to you. And it's not that I'm not speaking to you in my previous videos, but it's all prepared to the T. I just wanted it to be us talking, so you can understand me a bit more, and hopefully that we can connect a bit more deeper. As I said, there's many stuff I haven't said that will come soon. But it's mixed with unintentional intention. It's mixed with strength, hope, faith. And I utilize all of that now, knowing it. Utilize all of that and much more to continue further and beyond than I ever have. Through what I'm doing, such as now I'm a mindset coach. Now I'm signed to another model agency. I was signed to one back in 2019. I signed with them, now I'm signed to two. And through all I've said, the sole foundation of my story is knowing that everything happens for a reason. That saying is profound, it's powerful. That's what's led me to believe that despite what's happened, despite what I've gone through, whether good or bad, it's not you, you're not the cause of it, you're not the ultimate reason of it, but itself has purpose in your life. Never to really, it has the possibility to deteriorate you, to hurt you, to harm you, but ultimately you can, if you decide, grow from it, develop from it, and learn from it. That's what it's about. That's what life, you could say, is. It's a continuous learning, adapting, growing and understanding cycle. And with the next day that's going to come tomorrow, it's another opportunity to see what can I learn, see what can I do better than I did just yesterday. But are you going to? Thank you for watching. My name is JerryKanchefu. I hope you have a good day, morning, night or evening. I hope you don't mind the background. I hope you don't mind the lighting. I hope you don't mind the audio as well. I'm not in my usual, it's just set up, as you can tell. So, thank you for watching though. And I'll see you in the next one.